It's another beautiful day in the Bay Area. Welcome to Shared Bites. It's a show about sharing experiences both inside and outside of the gaming world. My name is Andy, and I'm joined as always by my buddy Justin. Justin, how are you doing today?
Who's that? I'm not Justin. Who are you?
Who are
Who am
you?
I? What are we doing here? I don't know.
Whoa, it's one of those days, huh?
I'm
Very
tired. Yeah.
existential day.
It's a beautiful day. I'm doing great. Best day ever. Video games are amazing.
Well, say it like you mean
yes.
it.
I'm good. I'm good. We went to a birthday party last weekend, and I think I'm still just wiped out from it.
Whoa, big rager.
Yeah, for a 6-year-old.
I mean, those 6-year-olds can really get at it.
I mean, I don't know where the energy comes from.
How was it? So what happened? Or what did you guys do?
It was fun. Yeah, I mean, it was one
about
of my son's friends turned 6, and it's one of the families that we're a little bit closer to from his pre-K who we keep up with. They're awesome, great people, really friendly, and my son gets along really well with their kids. So of course we had to go to their birthday party, and we had a great time.
Nice.
I ate a bunch of. It was all like raccoon themed.
Oh, I thought you ate raccoon. That's not what happened,
Oh my
right?
god. No, yeah, and they brought out a
Raccoon City
on a spit.
Wow.
They had a lot of little like raccoon masks and possum masks and stuff. It was really cute, and they had like garbage can little goodie bags and stuff to go with the trash panda thing.
Wow, really with the trash panda.
And it was a donut cake. The kid wanted donuts for his cake, so they made a cake out of a bunch of just giant, fluffy, delicious looking donuts and delicious tasting. I got to
that sounds
eat
good.
some of
I mean,
one.
it's not
It was
about
really
calories.
good.
That's good.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, birthday parties are fun. Free food is fun. Free donuts are fun. The coffee was good too. Man, there's
Wow.
nothing like just being super tired, it being too cold outside, it being surrounded by a bunch of children who are a lot more energetic than you are, and just sipping on some really like mid-tier chain coffee from a paper cup, you know.
Nice. Like Dunkin' or Starbucks.
I'm not going to name names.
Why don't I name names? You name names.
Bar Flux. I don't know.
Shame.
That's it.
Cool.
That's the end of my story.
That's an exciting party.
Activate segue.
I've been to more children's parties than I have ever before, because a lot of my friends are having kids now, and some of them are like pretty young. So it's like one or two, like, I mean, they're really young. So we're talking like one or two. I know yours is a little older. But it's basically kind of like my one chance to hang out with those friends, right? Those parent friends.
Yeah.
So it is where I'm like in the living room, or usually ends up being loitering in the kitchen area with the parents, and like eating food and then drinking your beverage. And yeah, I think
you got to get the comfort chips and dip that you can keep something in your hands, and if you get too nervous to say something to somebody, just take a bite.
Exactly. Yeah, just always have something to munch on, just kind of like as a comfort hand occupier, as the word
comfort moms. I brought the camera along, took some pictures of the kids, and it was just fun to bust the camera out. And
wait, what kind of camera do you have again?
I have a Sony A7R Mark III.
Like A7R III, nice. That's a legit camera.
It is. One too. It's a lot of camera.
I was reminding for our listeners what those cameras are.
I shoot primarily with a 35 millimeter lens or a 55 millimeter lens.
Nice.
Both Zeiss glass, I think, but I also have some other lenses that I dabble with. But I took the 35 for this, so got some fun like wide-ish angle shots of the kids like coming right up to the camera and stuff.
Ooh.
But it reminded me that I need to go out and do like photo walks and stuff more, because I enjoy taking photographs.
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's let me know. We can do a photo out together. I always need inspiration for those too. But I as an hobbyist photographer, I do get into those ruts where like I don't even touch the camera for months on end, and I think it's a function of just being inspired. I think photography is one of those hobbies where you just need some spark or some, I guess, impetus to really get some things going. So that was cool. You got inspiration from the kids. Any cool like any cool, I don't know, motion shots? I don't know if you played around with like shutter
Did
speed. Maybe they're like
I
getting like a
definitely,
blur.
I think I tried to get a couple like slow pan shots of the kids running and stuff, but I don't know if I got any that actually turned out. They're quick, man.
They are. You gotta like be on
They're wily ones.
the shutter trigger there. Like I always mean to like do more cool artsy shots where so you for those of you to like don't know like you can change the shutter speed of the camera so when you take a picture it can kind of you can simulate kind of like a motion like sense of motion with blur. So like if you can focus it just right, it looks like your subject is clear, but everything else around it's like blurry or cool like artistic shots like that. And that's
Yeah.
something I always think about doing, but just never do it because you have to be really intentional about it, obviously, right? Because you gotta like put the settings, you gotta set up and have your shot framed and everything. So yeah.
Yep. How about you? What you what were you, what you been up to, man?
Wow, yeah. We really
Bippity
can't
boppity
talk
boop.
today, huh? I hear you. I have been watching a lot of movies I feel like this is as usual, but I go through stretches where I don't watch any movies. Like in the month of April, I didn't really watch anything until last week, basically, because it was the San Francisco International Film Festival, the
Ooh.
69th San Francisco International Film Festival, actually,
Nice.
which is a very nice number year. So that was fun. But film festivals always get me up to do stuff because it's I like going to the theater. Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. I basically only watch movies in the theater,
Hmm.
and it's a lot of it stems from. I mean, I have the AMC A list membership, which is a cool membership
Ooh, Mr. Fancy Pants.
subscription where you pay like $27 a month and you get basically up to 4 movies a week for like free, quote unquote. Which is pretty good because an IMAX movie
Are
costs you
there
$28.
are
So
there enough movies coming out that you want to be going to see them that frequently?
we are getting to the season where it actually is. Like I found myself there's a couple weeks ago where I had all my slots booked, and it's not because I'm watching 4 movies a week necessarily. It's because I'm reserving the seat for like the big blockbuster that's coming out in a couple weeks, right? So like for example, like maybe like
Right.
Star Wars, Mandalorian, Grogu. I want to make sure I have a good seat for that, so I have that
Odyssey's coming up
reserved.
too.
Yeah, and the Odyssey, which yeah. So like I have them reserved, but they count against your limit if you reserve something like 2 months out even. So
I see.
um there's like I do come up to the limit often, but I rarely actually see 4 movies a week. That's a lot. But
It's one of
but
those
I
things where you do the math about like, okay, is this going to pay for itself if I go to X number of movies in this amount of time?
yeah, exactly. And if you go and for this thing, it's literally if you go to one movie, it pays for itself because an
Oh yeah.
IMAX movie is $28, and you can use an
Oh,
IMAX or Dolby or any of
an
your
IMAX movie
the
is $28. Man.
IMAX
Whew.
was twenty
Do you
dollars. Same with the Dolby Cinema.
do you feel like movie theaters ever really like came back after lockdown, after the pandemic situation?
I actually yes, yes is the answer to that question.
Oh yeah,
I
nice.
actually have been looking into a lot of studies. I've been studies meaning like tracking and analytics from the movie industry, which is my side hobby. Is I love movies, so I kind of follow the industry there as well. And there was a study I think a couple weeks ago. I forgot what it was on Variety or one of the big Hollywood reporter sites. Sorry, that's Hollywood Reporter is a trade magazine. One of those outlets had there was a study that said the movie business is actually up for Gen Z. So the younger people are actually going out to theaters, and all that
Hmm.
doom and gloom talk that we saw in the newspapers, whether it was the I think the New York Times or whether your old school magazines or newspapers saying the movie theaters are dead. No, that was just old crotchety millennials and boomers being lazy and not going out. Kids or younger people actually love the theater. It's I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but that's you can easily find them if you look. But yeah, I think it's interesting because we're seeing this kind of backlash to this digital on-demand environment that a lot of these younger people have been growing up with, and so they actually enjoy kind of the event of like, hey, let's get a group of friends together and go to the movies, go to the mall, like kind of like we did when we were young, right? When I mean,
That's
I
awesome.
spent
Kind
a
of
lot of
looking
time in the
for an
theaters.
excuse to get away from that always connected lifestyle that we're living in.
Absolutely, and I think
But
that's
on the other side of that coin, I've noticed that like one of the theaters I go to, they now have the wall behind you is high enough that if you're looking at your phone, you're not going to be disturbing people. So
oh interesting.
they're accounting for that stuff in newer theaters, at least in some of them.
Yeah, but that's super annoying if you're sitting next to people. I notice it a lot.
It's incredibly annoying. I hate it.
It's
I
really
hate it so
bad.
much.
But fortunately, like at the AMC, there's not really a lot. I rarely see a lot of that, which is nice. I mean, I know a lot of these theaters have those PSAs, like hey, like time to turn off your phones. But I think for the and going back to the younger people or the younger generations not using or like it because it's away from the digital culture, a digital kind of always on mentality. I think it's actually good, and I think that's actually a plus to going to the theater. And originally my point was that I see most of the movies in the theaters because of that, to be honest. Like I don't it's a, between 90 and 120 minutes of me not looking at my phone and
Mm-hmm.
not being, I guess, tempted to look at my phone or
Yeah.
whatever, because it's whether it's the social pressure or just I really am able to focus.
Yeah, totally
And
agree.
that's
That's the only time that I'm ever really able to like sit down and focus on watching a movie
yeah.
front to back is if I'm in a theater because temptation is endless at home. You know, there's so
Yeah.
many
No,
things that could come, and I mean, especially as a parent, forget about it. But
totally.
even before that, there's so many other things that you could be doing. Even the phone sitting right next to you.
Totally, yeah. And when I watch movies at home, if I pull something up on the streaming device or the Plex server, I always have my phone out, and that's I know it's half of it's my fault, but it's just hard not to like do that. And I think the only times I leave actively I don't watch it is if I pay for like a movie, like if I pay for, sometimes if film festivals do online screenings, and those cost a bit of money. So for those, I definitely like put my phone in the other room and I like kind of watch the movie like focus. But if it's just something, just casually there on, whatever, I usually have my phone out because it's like something I think it's
That just
for me,
happened
it's
to
something I
me.
don't really care about.
That
Well,
just
there's a
happened
reason
to
why I
me
was at
like a
home.
week ago. I loaded up Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which very funny. It's by if you have ever seen the meme, the We Shop Wednesday, the guys singing along to
Yes, it's Matt
the
Johnson
We
and
Shop.
Jay. What's his last name?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So they
yeah.
released a movie. You, I assume, have seen it. Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it. I saw it last year actually, and it's
Oh,
funny you
nice.
bring this up is because I actually revised my best of rankings this year to put that as number one. I think it's my favorite movie this
Number
year.
one. Oh, wow.
Number one.
Well, I'm especially disappointed to say that I got halfway through it, got distracted by something, and have not gone back to finish watching it. So I'm like halfway through. I need to go back and finish it because, yeah, I
Yeah,
was really enjoying it. It was
yeah.
great
It's a
up
really
until
fun
that
movie. I
point.
was surprised you. I mean, it makes sense you got distracted by something else because it's not boring. It's a very fun movie.
Yeah, it's
It's
like it
hilarious.
keeps moving, and it's just one ridiculous scenario after another. It's like,
Yep.
wait, they're doing what now? Like, but it feels so grounded and realistic
Yep.
because of the way it's filmed, and because these
Yeah.
just feel like two regular dudes.
Yeah, they're
Um,
two silly dudes that just want to play a show at the Rivoli, which is I think it's in Toronto, right? They're
I think
just
so.
two
Yeah.
aspiring musicians, and I think I actually didn't know this, but it's a comedy web series that came out, back in the Wii Shop days, like in the or mid-aughts, mid-2000s.
Mm. And is that
Um,
where that meme came from? Because I know that that's a video clip. Is that what that series is?
I
That
believe that is from one of the web series like shows. I haven't
yeah,
seen it, but I know it's been around for like 20 plus
legendary,
years, and so
legendary clip.
that's a legendary clip. Yeah, but I never put two and two together that those guys, well, first that meme was on the show and that the show was in the movie. I just went to see the movie because I heard it was good. That's
Oh
the only
yeah.
reason I was there.
Yeah, it's
um,
those guys. That's how I heard about it because I was like, wait, the We Shop Wednesday guys made a movie, and I was like, oh yeah, and yeah, I thanks for reminding me that I need to finish watching that.
Definitely finished. I ordered the Blu-ray. That's what I think it's good enough that I'm going to buy it for the library. That's actually
Nice.
my one of my bars of quality. Or because if it's something I like that much, or that passes this bar of, I guess, fandom for me, it's like I want to have it for the library. So that's one of
Yeah,
the movies I ordered for the library. it's
yeah.
um it's very cool. And yeah, I did. So when I saw it last year, I was at a special event where the director, or so the stars were there, Matt Johnson and
Oh,
Jay, and
cool.
it was really cool hearing them talk about the movie because there's some crazy shots that they pull in the movie, and and basically they were most of them are real. Like they just talked their way into like the CN Tower, which is kind of like For those of listeners who've never
Did
been to
they give them
Toronto,
a
it's
heads up about what they were going to do? I won't spoil anything, but did they give them a heads up ahead of time about
no,
what was
no,
going
they
to
just walked
happen?
in there. They just walked in there and did that because
And they just
that's
went
something.
for it? Oh
Yeah,
my
that's something
God.
where if you try to get permission, you're gonna get knocked down. But if you
Yeah.
just go, it's
That's
fast forgiveness.
crazy. Oh my God.
Um, yeah, they talked their way into the CN Tower, which is kind of like the. I mean, it looks like the Space Needle, but it's really tall. It's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the tallest buildings. It's probably the tallest building in Toronto, and I don't know compared to one in the US, but yeah, they talked their way up there with go with like a bolt. What they get bolt cutters or something? Like
Yeah.
they snuck
Yeah.
something up there where they shouldn't have, and they clearly they're nothing. They didn't put anyone in harm's way, but it was just interesting to hear them talk
Crazy
about
stuff,
how they did
man.
that. And the bit, I
Yeah.
want to actually share this. Like one of the cool nuggets from the interview was that whenever they had a scene in the movie that they talked to a normal person, because the movie is half like reality show,
Yeah.
half scripted. Whenever they talk to like an employee at a store or something where it's on camera, they always made sure that they were making fun of themselves as the actors. They tried to never actually prank the person in terms of making the person look bad,
Oh, okay. That's
which
nice.
was an
That's
interesting question because
thoughtful.
people ask like, oh, like because they do some really ridiculous stuff in the stores in terms of acting like idiots or asking really stupid questions. And if you pay attention in the movie, like all the interactions are basically them asking ridiculous stuff, but it's always the employee of the store that's the rational one. It's like, hey, that's a bad idea. You should not do that. I don't recommend
Oh,
you do
yeah.
that. But they're increasingly becoming more comedic or kind of more clownish, and
Yeah.
that's where the
Yeah.
humor is coming from. But I thought that was a really good detail because a lot of times you can do it incorrect, right? If you look at any number of silly influencers, like I mean, your Logan Pauls of the world, right? Like you're who are actively kind of in it for the content to make anyone look bad if it makes for good clicks. So I thought that was a very considerate a thing by the filmmakers, and they're Canadian, so they probably should be nicer, just given the stereotypes of Canadians.
Shout out to Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Matt Johnson's director. Also, Matt Johnson's having a moment right now. By the way, I got animated because this morning the trailer for Tony came out. If you know what
What's that?
Tony is the Anthony Bourdain biopic.
No way.
Yeah,
I didn't
and
know this
Matt
was
Johnson
happening.
is directing that. He's directed Nirvana, the show, the band. And it's very cool
Really?
because and he got his buddy, he got Jay. So Jay is his partner in the band. Jay's doing the music for the movie, and he's got
Really?
he's got a lot of people that he's worked with in working on this. So it's like really
Huh.
cool that he's kind of incorporating the cinematic universe of Matt Johnson stuff, which is
That's cool. Wow.
yeah. And he also directed Blackberry, which is a really good movie too, which I think I highly
Oh,
recommend
he
to
directed
you.
that?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
watched that
he's
a few months ago and
yeah,
really enjoyed it.
it's pretty good, right? I love the Doom references in that as a 1990s id Software fan. I think that's
Oh,
part
right.
of the
Yeah.
there's a lot of id Software references in that movie, which is a wild gaming tangent thing.
Makes sense.
But this is Matt Johnson hour. Matt Johnson's also directed the Magic the Gathering movie.
What?
Yeah.
Which
They're making a
one?
Magic the Gathering movie and he's directing it, which is
like
if
it's
anybody
it's happening.
yeah, it's happening.
Currently.
I know this is like in production.
Wow.
And the cool thing is that Matt is actually a Magic player and he's been playing for like 30 years.
Sweet.
And he actually, I think this is a story that I heard over the weekend. I hope it's real because it was on Reddit. But that Matt over the weekend it was MagicCon, so that's a big Magic kind of yearly gathering. I mean, I think they might do more than one a year, but there's a Pro Tour there. Pro Tour is their professional a tournament for they have multiple series. And lore has it that Matt Johnson, the director of Nirvana the show and Magic the Gathering movie, actually played in the tournament. He went 5-0. And then he conceded to his opponent as he was about to win because he wanted to go to dinner.
What?
Yeah, he's a movie director. I don't think he has any interest in actually winning the tournament, but but if he's got a free afternoon, he's going there to play. Yeah, it's a nice flex. It's also kind of hey, like
good
sure
promo
for
the movie.
Cool.
Good cred. Like I know what the hell I'm doing.
But yeah, so yeah, Matt Johnson's a lot in the news today. That's why that's wild that you mentioned that you're watching that movie because it's Matt Johnson hour.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else have you been up to? Playing anything fun?
Yeah. I am playing Pragmata right now, which actually I finished Pragmata last night. Um,
Pragmata.
Pragmata. Is it? Wait, is it Pragmata? Wait, Pragmata. Pragmata.
It's
Pragmata.
hold on. Give me a sec. Give me a sec because now I'm all short circuited. It's pragmata is how I
Pragmata.
understand it's actually pronounced. Pragmata is how I've been saying it in my head.
Okay. And I should know this because the characters actually say that word in the game,
Oh, do they?
but I just maybe it's because I'm so used
But
to
Cam
whatever
said
man.
pragmata one time, and
Yeah,
now that's how I read
that's
it.
gotten in my head. And then pragmata. Wait, yeah, there was another pronunciation cadence that I heard. I was playing with in my head the other day, and yeah. Anyway, I finished the game, finished the main story.
Dad
It's
space.
dad space. It's very dad coded. Yeah, it's a fun game. I'm glad I had spent my time with it. I actually played it in the most dad way possible. I played it over the course of 3 weeks. And each game, and in terms of, I played it for 1 to 2 hours every like few days.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
the most casual way of playing this game. Like as
I was gonna ask what makes it dad coded to play it over the course of whatever period of time. Is it just
uh
because you like gave it a couple hours a night or something?
Yeah, it's like as I'm sure I'm not a father, but I have lots of friends who are fathers, and they have very limited time. They're like, oh, I only got 2 hours a night that I got to myself, and so, and it's not every night too. It's just so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
checks out right. Sounds about right.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think that is actually the perfect game for gaming dads because you can play it and have a nice experience in that time period.
Nice. I do want
Um,
to play it. I'm gonna wait for a sale.
oh, you don't have it yet. Okay. I thought
I
you
don't have
got
it
it,
yet.
but no. Okay.
No. You talked me into Marathon, but I haven't been convinced to buy Pragmata yet.
Yeah. I got it on sale actually because I think they had a sale on Newegg that was 20% off
Oh, nice.
pre-launch. So that's enough for me.
Oh
That's
wow.
like that's 20% is usually like a 90-day deal after release in
Yeah.
the industry. So generally speaking, this is just blanket, not necessarily for Capcom, but yeah, I figured I'm in for that price.
Nice.
And people are talking about it, but yeah, I don't know. It's not really. I don't. I heard some Game of the Year chatter. I think you probably have too, just from reading there's the
I think
reactions
people are
from some
looking for
people.
any game to call a GOTY contender right now. You know, it's hasn't been a whole lot this year yet.
I think there's a
So
bunch of candidates. We got Pokopia, we
we
got
got
Resident Evil
Pocopia.
9, we
Sure.
got
There's a couple.
Mugenics, we got Saros, there's lots of 8990s that are like up there. There's a lot of
I'm
candidates.
enjoying Saros a lot. I don't know if it's gonna make Game of the Year lists.
Um, I mean, it's got an 89, right? 88. So we got
Oh,
like,
what is it?
and I think,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I can't tell you what Pragmata's score is right now off the top of my head, but I mean, I was just, the point is like, there are a lot of Game of the Year candidates already. So don't
Oh yeah.
like, I think there's a lot of good stuff out there. But yeah, this, for me, this is not in the same tier as any of those games I just mentioned. It's not because it's a bad game. It's a really fun game.
Andy
Really
thinks it sucks.
recommend it.
Confirmed.
Recommend the game. It's really fun. But it's just kind of like a game that's kind of a one note. It's kind of like a mm, summer action blockbuster that's really fun for the entire time you're there. There's just a little depth that you're not like. It's not the Mario movie, for example. It's not like just totally
I heard some folks describing
empty
it as like a
calorie.
really solid like PS3 era action game.
Yeah, that makes sense. It reminds me of Vanquish. If you played Vanquish before, the Platinum Games,
Yeah,
on
right.
Sega, or I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
mean
published on Sega.
visually similar too, with all the outer
Yeah,
space and the
rope,
armor that the guy
the
wears
mech
even looks
armor.
similar. Yeah,
Yeah, and the speed of the action is very like high speed and a lot of dashing, a lot of dodging, a lot of swapping weapons and hacking, and the gameplay loop is really fun.
yeah.
And there's lots of cool training exercises you can do in it. So yeah, no, highly recommend the game. It's fun. It's just for me, it's just one note, and the story is really predictable, which is fine. I'm not there looking for near, although there are a lot of near story elements that are kind of brought in, right, with the notion of AI and sentience, and putting humanity or human characteristics into these AI synthetic beings. I'll use.
Mm.
I was trying to avoid using the word robot, but I'd actually be curious to see how you think of the game coming as a dad. And I know you're not a girl dad, but the game is very girl dad coded. It's a girl dad fantasy, I would say. Even I have a buddy
Interesting.
who is a girl. He has he's got a 6-7 year old daughter, and he's like, yeah, like this game is not this not it's kind of like the what's it called the really it only shows the positives of parenthood, which makes sense, right? It's not a game where you're actively changing diapers and stuff like
Yeah, you're
that,
not
but
cleaning up puke from the back of your shirt. Yeah.
yeah, and then the little girl doesn't throw tantrums that last for however many hours. It's she's there. But it does feel very fake though, and I think that I shared that with him, and he was like, yeah, that's kind of I agree. It feels like this this fantastic AI version of an AI of an AI child that's only there to look cute, says the right things, and kind of massages her ego as a father. It's like, hey, it's she like gives you little drawings that are like they look like they're drawn by a 7-year-old, and they're cute, but it's barely contrived, really fake. And I just found that interesting because I saw there's a lot of people out there. I saw reactions like, oh, this is like I was in tears because this made me miss my daughter, or this this made me want to be a father. Like, I mean, I get it. I
Well,
mean, it's
careful.
yeah,
Careful what you wish for. There's a lot more to it.
yeah, for sure. But and that's totally valid feeling to have. I'm not saying that's it's silly, but I think it just came off as just very, very very contrived, right? It's very fantastical, which is not, I mean, it's for a game that's there for entertainment to make you kind of get lost in a power fantasy and parent fantasy at the same time. It does its job, but for me, it was like, I was nagging a little bit, like just hearing the chatter of like, oh, it's like the perfect advertisement to get the population up. I'm like, well, okay, whoa, so hold on there. Like, it's not gonna.
I don't know about that.
That's kind of where the ridiculous chatter was going that I saw, and I kind of stopped the internet
That is
before
indeed some ridiculous chatter.
went too far on that route.
Fell down to the YouTube algorithm took you too far.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of a one gear game, I'll say, and it's a good gear. It's a fun gear to be in. Gear, oh my gosh, what's the car analogy? Gear 4, maybe. Just
sure.
You're just fourth gear.
3, 4. That's a good place
cruising.
to be.
You're just cruising. It's a fun time, but you're not really going, a lot, or you're not doing not a lot of variance there. But
okay,
still recommend.
Sounds great. So wait for a sale. Got it.
Wait for a sale. Yes, that's what I would say. If you get a good deal on it, at least. But I love how these games. We need to do more of these games where there's a finite end to them. There's a 10. Again, I actually beat the game in 9 hours and 59 minutes, so just under 10 hours. We need more games that are that's the perfect length. Between 8 and 12 hours, I think, is my sweet spot as a middle-aged gamer, because that's basically a season of TV if you look at it, and that's about kind of the max I want to spend on a form of entertainment these days. Is in terms of commitment usually. Obviously, there's going to be exceptions, like Expedition 33, or maybe Grand Theft Auto comes out, or whatever. But generally, like most games are. That's the length I want to play them at. And how about you? Like, I feel like when we were younger, games that had a long length, like, inherently seem more valuable because you got more bang for your buck, right?
Sure, there's always that conversation, right? About like, oh, X number of, if I pay $60 for a game, I should get at least X hours of entertainment out of it. But I mean, that's a whole different podcast, man. We could spend a whole hour and a half talking about the merits of that conversation. Long story short, I don't think that is a good way to I guess dictate the quality of a game is by
for sure,
or like the worth of a game is how long it is, or how long it takes.
For
you
sure,
to beat
I agree
it.
with that. But would you say
that said, I will say I recoiled a little bit when you said you beat Pragmata in under 10 hours. I'm thinking like, wait, that's like a $70 game, right? Like $70.
No, it's not $70. It's $59.99 retail price.
It's a $60 still. Okay, so $60. It's a.
I got a 20%.
I will admit that like they're like really. I will admit that like for a moment I was like, I don't know, that's not a whole lot of time. Like, so I'm not even immune to it, even though I think it's BS.
Yeah, I mean by that logic, and this is silly, but just to see it, just. If you're out there thinking about that, what Journey is like $20 for 2 hours, like or whatever think of a really good game that's short, that's
I think Journey
within a few hours.
was Journey $20. I'm trying to think when it
25,
first came out. I think it was like $15.
15.
Anyway, I mean,
Regardless, yeah.
Journey is a different story. You can't compare.
But if you're
Journey
looking
to...
at purely hour per dollar, that's. But no. So my point was, I actually was going to ask you, was that do you think that's kind of this mentality is a thing you kind of go from when you're younger to when you're older, when you have kind of basically more free time and less free time, and you have, when you're younger, you generally don't have a lot of disposable income. As you get older, theoretically, you should have more disposable income. As you
I
go into
think
life.
I think I was thinking about this I was thinking ahead earlier, and I think what I landed on was the sense of ownership versus because a lot of people, the famous comparison that people love to make is like, well, if I go see a movie, I pay this much for a movie and it's this many hours or whatever but when you go see a movie, you don't own that movie afterward. When you buy a game, it's something you own, and then like after you finish playing it, after that 7 hours, it's still a thing sitting on your shelf, and it's like, is this worth $60 to me? Like it feels different with a game than it feels like you can't measure them on like a one-to-one basis.
Yeah, I agree. You can't measure them on a basis. I would challenge the owning argument, because we're in an age where if you buy a digital game, you don't own shit.
Sure, I mean that's a different conversation. But let's say for the sake of the argument that owning things still actually means owning things.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, because you get to replay the game at your leisure.
I think there is a perception that if you buy a game, you own the game. Like that is...
Well, I would just say, like, you can replay it at your leisure, generally speaking. Like you can, you have
it's yours at that point. Yeah, like I bought this thing, I own it, it's mine. I can play it as many times as I want. I can put it, but I think that the argument that people land on is like, okay, well, a game like Pragmata, I play through it, I'm done, and then what? Like, okay, I've spent $60 on this thing, and then I'm done with it. What? And people have gotten so used to games lasting forever now that it's just gotten worse. With all the live service boom of the past decade that seems to be fizzling out, but again, that's another podcast.
Well, I think the point I wanted to make was more like, as we get older, like I place a much higher priority on having a valuable experience with the game, the time I spend with it, than the actual dollar amount or dollar to whatever hour ratio of the game. I would rather pay $70 for a 6-hour game than the same amount for a 130-hour game. Or that's a Crimson Desert. I have no desire to play Crimson Desert. Go with God if that's your game. I hear it's really cool for people like big sandboxes. I would never pay I wouldn't pay $10 for that game, because I know I'm not going to like it, because I'm not going to spend 200 hours, being lost in a sandbox, because that's just not what I enjoy.
It's crazy. Like even like Crimson Desert, objectively speaking, given like what it is, knowing how huge it is and all the hours of gameplay you get and everything, that feels like a $50-$60 game to me. I don't know, like you can't judge a game based on the amount of hours that you get out of it. That's I don't know how we ended up having this argument, because I feel like this was settled a long time ago. But yeah, that is a fun conversation to dredge up.
The point I'm still trying to make is that I feel for me it's an age and money thing. When I'm younger, when I have less money, I want to maximize every dollar that I have, and I have a lot of free time, because when you're younger, you have a lot of summer vacations, you got whatnot. I mean, you want to make your dollar go longer, and that's, if given a choice, you're going to pick the game that gets you the most out of that dollar. But nowadays, it's
a very pragmatic approach.
Is it now? But nowadays, yeah, exactly. I'd rather pay. I'd rather have a short game that's finite. You can finish the game, feel a sense of accomplishment. I'm okay if I don't ever revisit it. I mean, there's a bunch of extra New Game Plus. There's all that stuff I can go back to Pragmata with afterwards. But I probably won't, because I got to play Saros. I got to move on to the next thing, just because there's always something coming out. So
and you raise an interesting point, like the whether or not you have disposable income is a big part of the equation.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's, So it's a function of time and money. But, I think the point was also that Pragmata did very well. I think it sold 2 million copies its first couple days, first weekend.
Awesome.
I think we look at the numbers. So that kind of, we're at a day, and maybe it's this is not just me. We had a lot of, I mean, clearly it's not just me because 2 million people bought it for a couple of days. But I think, as a lot of the gaming audience is getting older, they're having families, they're having busy jobs, busy careers. I think there is something to be said for being able to make a game that appeals to that kind of sensibility. And I think this might be a new trend, hopefully, that Capcom is doing very well. The last 2 games have been massive successes, right? Resident Evil, Requiem, and Pragmata are back-to-back bangers, and
And
they're
before
both.
that, Monster Hunter stumbled technically, but ended up being like, when all said and done, it's a great game, and I think it sold really well too.
Yeah. And so, I mean, Capcom's really doing a pretty bang up job nowadays. They're kind of in this this renaissance
Firing
where
on all cylinders, as it were.
they're making games that are not live service games. These are mostly single player games. I know
Now,
that
please figure out what to do with Mega Man.
yeah, well, they got one coming out, but I
I know
think
they do, but it looks like another Mega Man. It's all right. I'll play it, but like, what are they doing? What are they
yeah.
doing with Mega Man? They're just every once in a while they put out
Oh,
another
that's like a number.
side-scrolling. Like, okay, I hope they do something weird or interesting. Like, make me raise my
Yeah,
eyebrow the next
reinvent.
time I see one of these
You want
trailers.
something reinvented, right? You want something new, something fresh, something
Yeah, I want to be
reinvigorating.
excited. I love
Yeah.
Mega Man as a character, as an idea. I want to be excited about it. It's the same thing with like Star Fox, and I feel like we're gonna
Oh
see
yeah,
a Star Fox
we,
renaissance
we
soon, but
discussed
like
this.
an
Yeah.
IP that just deserves a win.
It's the age old IP problem, right? Where you want to have something new and fresh, but you also have to be realistic about risk, and you don't want to rock the boat too much. You want to alienate the mainstream to get your money.
Sure.
Like you want to. I think that's always the
I don't know how many
the
Mega Man
struggle.
fans out there are gonna clutch their pearls if Mega Man or if Capcom decides to go out on a limb with that series a little bit. It's
I think a lot of them are going to be because I think just a lot of Mega Man fans are kind
But how
of
many of them are
older
just
40, 50
rolling
year
their eyes
olds.
that the new one looks like just another 2D platformer, man? Like,
Yeah, I
Mega
agree.
Man deserves more.
I think a lot of younger gamers, a lot of new gamers are not going to care. They're going to want a good game. I think that's what's needed. Is just something that's fresh and new that kind of obviously gets
I will say I'm
the
being
essence of
a
it.
little unfair because we've only seen like a teaser of gameplay, so it could turn out that they have some
Yeah,
crazy ace up their sleeve, but
hopefully it does. But
I hope so.
it's the Star Wars problem, right? It's that's what when I mean we can this is a rabbit hole we can go down if you want to, but at least in brief, that's what happened. That's what's wrong with the second trilogy or
The
the third
problem with the second
trilogy.
trilogy is they should have just picked one one director and stuck with him instead of like,
Right.
okay, JJ's going
Yeah.
to do this one and then Ryan's going to come in, but not have an overarching like cohesive plan for the trilogy and let them just riff off of each other's movies. Like, what the hell were they? I don't know.
Oh, they weren't thinking. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're on this. So wait, actually, I don't know this. So did you like the Last Jedi, the second one, the number 8?
Yes.
Okay, me
I
too. We're
liked it.
both fist bump Last Jedi bros.
I
I
liked it
love that
more
movie.
than the other two, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same.
I didn't
That's the
think any
best
of
new
the
one
three.
movie.
I thought the first one and the third one were pandering,
Yep.
just
Just
nostalgia
memory
bait.
buried nostalgia bait. Yes, like in South Park.
The second one at least tried to do something
Yeah,
interesting, like say
exactly.
whether it succeeded or failed, but at least it had something to say. It tried to do something interesting.
Yeah, something new.
The first
interesting.
one did not do that. The third one did not do that.
Yeah,
I feel like the
and-
whole trilogy was wasted as a result, because
Yeah.
they just couldn't. If they just gave it, I don't get like I didn't love what JJ did with the movies he worked on, but at least if he
Well, the
worked on
first
all
one-
three of them, there could have been a through line,
Well, so what happened is that he was never, and again, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts or a lot of literature on the movie industry recently. JJ had no intention of doing the other ones because he just wanted to kind of, just kind of reintroduce the characters or reintroduce
really?
these characters and hand it off. And so that's the first one, the first Force Awakens, Force Awakens that was 7, right? So that's episode 7.
Yeah.
It had this air of familiarity with it, right? Similar story beats, some of the characters are the same, but it had
it
some
was like a carbon copy, man.
no, that number. I think I'm number 9. 7 had enough of like threads that they could pull on, and they did actually in the Last Jedi, that were able to be pulled on. But I think that 7 did a good job of just kind of putting it back into the conversation, getting people excited about the franchise again. Yes, it wasn't the most interesting, you know, off the wall thing, but it needed to actually bring back the casual fans of like, hey, remember all that cool stuff you love? That's theirs. I get that from that movie. But yeah, with episode 8, I mean, there's really cool ideas there, really cool directions, really cool performances from Mark Hamill. Like all of it's really interesting stuff. But you had such a big outcry from these fanboys, these
Haters.
stands that wanted just their memories of the movie to be stuck in this frozen carbonite, like the same like time
That's
capsule
not
that the
my Luke
originals were.
Skywalker.
Yeah, I heard that. I've had arguments with friends on this, and they're like, "Yeah, that's not what Luke would do. That's not no." And
Okay,
I was
well,
like,
that's what
"People
Luke
can't
did.
change." Like, yeah,
Sorry.
and enough of that outcry came out that the higher ups at Disney got scared and they pulled the plug. This is corporate, corporate conservatism, meaning they can't rock the boat because they have shareholders they got to appease, and that's what their job is to do. They have to make sure the shareholders are appeased. And they panicked. So that's why they fired Ryan, and they couldn't find anyone to do this, so they got JJ to come back, and so he came back, and the movie wasn't really his. I don't think they basically had a mandate to make a hit. And how do you make a surefire hit? You just remake the same movie that you know to be a hit.
Palpatine returned.
Somehow Palpatine. That's a great line from Oscar Isaac there from Poe Dameron. But that's how that movie came on. That's why it was a disaster. Everyone hated the movie. I mean, maybe I think there's probably some people who liked the movie because the people who just wanted I don't know, shiny glossy coats of the movies they've already seen. But to your point, just kind of bringing this back to the Mega Man point, is that there's no need for us to make the same game that's already been made, because it's already been made. It's there. There's got to be a reason why there's a new entry. There's somehow, right? And it's a balance. I know you got to toe the line between familiarity in order to kind of go, hey, anchor people that, hey, this is the franchise you love. But then you also have to take some sort of risks and some sort of...
I want it to be interesting. I see what they're doing with Resident Evil. I see what they're doing with Monster Hunter. And I see like the cool stuff they're doing in Pragmata, which almost feels like a Mega Man game. And then I see this reveal of Mega Man, which just looks like the last Mega Man game. It's like, okay, well, it's another Mega Man game. Cool. But you're doing all this other cool stuff with these other IPs.
Yeah. We need a fully 3D. No, we need a fully 3D Mega Man. But we need something different. But
we have. I mean, we have Mega Man Legends and Legends 2. Like it's.
Well, the cool thing about Pragmata is that Pragmata. I'm saying this game differently every time I say the game. The cool thing about Pragmata is that it's a new IP. I think some of the story elements, some of the characters are pretty. The story is like very Resident Evil coded. Like there's a lot of audio logs and text logs that you're like, this is straight out of Resident Evil. It's a lot of the same tropes, but at the end of the day, it's still a new IP, still new characters. It's still even the story's not terribly original. It's something new, and I'm glad that games like that succeed. Yes, we're celebrating that. That's all that to say. The last whatever discussion that we had, it's a new IP. It's a fun game. We need more of that. And even if it's even if it's not my game of the year, I'm glad it's here. I'm glad I supported it by paying for it. Hopefully voting for our dollars. We want more new stuff. Okay, other game that I played, I also played Saros. This is a big gaming segment right now, but I wanted to mention Saros, which just came out, and I think both you and I have the game and we played it. I actually just finished a run before we hopped on the record.
You finished a run? Like you beat a run?
No. I finished. I died, but I completed it.
How far
completed a run. It was about a 30-minute run. So I don't know how long your runs have been. Have they been around the same or longer?
I pause a lot and I'm like kind of side looking at stuff and all that. But I have gotten past the first boss a few times. I have not gotten past the second boss yet.
Okay. I just failed in the first boss.
Second boss a couple times.
Okay. Well, I just failed in the first boss. So you probably haven't done a few more runs than I have then. Given
the thing I appreciate about Saros is that it's a little more lenient in terms of progression in between runs. So
there's a lot of upgrades unlocking. I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's like I'm notably more powerful now than I was 5 hours ago. So it's a lot easier to get through that first biome now than it was at first. Whereas in Returnal, I felt like I saw a lot of that first biome because it was just like...
Oh, yeah. Returnal is punishing. And
Yeah, it's I love it, but man, that game was hard, dude. I'm glad that Saros is a little bit more accessible. I'll say.
I think I am too. Although having just played through Pragmata, like Saros is actually looking pretty easy. Like not easy, but just
Really?
very similar. Like I'm doing the same stuff. So I think the muscle memory from playing.
Pragmata doesn't seem like it's that hard,
There the last
is
boss
it?
is pretty challenging. I mean,
Really?
I had to try. I mean, it's not like
Oh,
it's not punishing. It's not like Dark Souls level, but I failed. I had to retry it. It took me one
huh.
retry, but I did have to retry it. It wasn't like a walkthrough.
Hmm.
So and there's a lot of Twitch skills that you need in terms of being able to dash,
I
dodge,
see.
hack, switch weapons.
Dip,
You know,
dive,
it's
and
very
duck,
Saros coded,
dodge.
honestly. But yeah, so you're a few hours in then. To Saros
Yeah,
sounds like.
a few ish. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know. I haven't really been keeping track of the time, but yeah, I'm uh in the second biome ish,
Yeah,
and really enjoying my time with it.
yeah, it's a fun game. It doesn't feel too much different than Returnal, honestly, in terms of just general vibes,
It
and
feels very similar
feels
gameplay
very
wise, which is not a
similar.
bad thing because
No,
in
it's not
turn,
bad.
like
Yeah.
the Returnal felt great. That is not one of the things that I think they needed to improve a whole lot on from
Yeah.
Returnal. I think they did make some smart changes in terms of making it feel more like you're progressing in between runs, whereas I didn't get that as much with Returnal. I felt
Yeah.
like if I didn't make a certain amount of progress on a run, it's like, oh well, that was a wasted
That
run
was a
because
waste. Yeah.
I didn't progress anything. Like it feels like something's always being able to progress things in between runs helps a lot with that. I think with Saros, but I think there's also a little bit of like little story nuggets dropping here and there in between runs too. So, and I'm moving through the game quickly enough as a result of it being a little easier that those story beats are coming a little more frequently too. So I think those two things combined make it a lot more engaging and
Mm.
a lot easier to keep playing.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Hades in terms of the story, right? Because you're getting like these different dialogue
A little. It's
and
not
stuff.
quite that like Hades is just like it grabs you and it won't let you go because they fine tune that formula so well, especially after.
Sorry, talking about two or one. I'm talking. Wait,
I'm talking about how
Hades.
they pioneered that formula in one and then really
Mhm.
fine tuned it in two and made it
Okay.
so that just like in between runs it's like you're progressing your skills and uncovering more mysteries during a run, but then in between runs you're talking to characters and progressing those relationships and all that, and just both sides of that game are so compelling. I don't
Mhm.
think Saros is quite on that level.
Mhm.
It's dipping its toes into those waters, but
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
it's not as sticky as like a Hades.
I agree. And this story is not grabbing me yet. I don't know. I don't know if it has you yet. Sounds like it really hasn't yet. From what
Not really, but
your
good
vibes are.
performances all around.
Yeah, it's not. Oh, sorry, you said good performances
Yeah,
all around.
the performances are good. It's just the
Yeah,
story
that's fine. Yeah.
is I haven't, but I'm not super far into it. I'm certainly intrigued by a lot of the flashback stuff I'm seeing, and
Mm.
some of the like audio log stuff is kind of perking my ears up a little bit. And I'm, the setting like an eclipse is a inherently mysterious thing,
Sure. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I love that that's kind of the setting, is like that the eclipse is so central to this, and I can't wait to see like how it all ties together later in the game. But yeah, right now it's not super. I'm like, oh yeah, we're here looking for some people, and some people went crazy, and okay, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty, par for the
Should.
course. People going
Yeah.
crazy story so far.
I'm getting some alien vibes from
Yeah,
Prometheus. You ever watch Prometheus?
I haven't seen Prometheus.
Have you've seen the Alien franchise,
Yeah,
obviously.
right.
Prometheus was kind of the, I guess it's Prometheus is a way prequel, but it's kind of setting the lore for it. But it's similar vibes, right? It's got a doomed space expedition for whatever reason, from a corporation. So it's almost carbon copy. I feel like it's got a cool, I guess, setting, which is, it's always interesting to see this
The
kind of
vibes are
almost
immaculate.
space horror vibe kind of thing, especially with these organic, the terrain, the terraformer there. But yeah, it's not really grabbing me yet, so we'll see. Hopefully it does. But I'm excited
It
to play
feels
through
great to
it.
play though.
Yeah, that's really fun. That's why I'm playing it, obviously, because love the good Housemarque bullet hell. It just looks pretty to look at. Feels very satisfying to shoot the guns, to dash, to do that stuff.
I
So
love the Ikaruga influences too, the
yes,
absorbing bullets and then shooting supers back. Like, ooh, feels good,
yeah,
man. Feels
one of the
good. Not enough
one of the
people
great
have
games, Ikaruga.
stolen that mechanic.
What? Which one? Sorry.
Not enough games have stolen that mechanic, the whole
Yeah,
absorbing
that's
bullets and
true.
firing them back. Not that this is a direct copy of. I definitely got Ikaruga vibes the first time I was introduced to the absorbing bullets with your shield mechanic, though.
That's a good call. I didn't think Ikaruga because I have not thought about that game in a while. But thanks for bringing that up because I loved Ikaruga. I played that multiple times. Such a good
So
game. One of the
good,
best
classic.
games. One of the best games ever. Just yeah, I'll
Yeah,
say that. One of the best games ever
legitimately.
made.
Yep.
So yeah, well, I'm excited to play some Saros. For more Saros, gotta get through it. That's kind of my next game now that I've finished Pragmata. I think this is pretty obvious from having known me for a while, but just I play through games, right? I start a game and I finish it before moving on to the next one. I mean, I'll dabble. Sometimes I'll dabble like with one or two simultaneously, but I usually like to finish something before I go to the next game. And so yeah, I'm excited to devote more. I focus solely on Saros now. Now that I've kind of gone through the story of Pragmata. Um, but yeah. Well, another big piece of news that we share is that we are going to the Pokemon World Championships, buddy. Yes.
Ooh, snap. That'll be
It's
fun.
in San Francisco this year, and both of us in the Bay Area, so it's kind of local to us. So kind of made sense to give it a shot because I've never been to one, and I mean, yeah, I think you're amongst the two of us. You're the bigger Pokemon fan than I am in terms of just all things considered. But I have to be remiss if I didn't like at least have this life experience. So I'm excited to be going
That'll be
in a few
fun.
months.
And you kindly offered to add me and my son to your reservation, so we're
Of
all gonna
course. Yeah.
go. And it's gonna be so much more fun having him there
Yes, I
with
think
us, just seeing
with the
it through
eyes of the
his
child, I think
eyes.
that'll be really fun. Yeah.
Man, yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be a great time.
Have you ever like followed worlds before? Like, what can I expect? Can you tell me anything, or
I
do you know
haven't.
what's?
I don't know. I
Oh,
I
okay.
don't really follow competitive Pokemon at all. Like every once in a while, we'll load up a match on YouTube just to because he likes to
Mm.
watch the
What's that
people
like
play.
then?
But
They
uh,
play they play on the is they play in one of the games, right? It's one of the
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
the
they'll
card
play.
game. Or maybe they made the
I think
card
they're
game. I
playing
don't know,
on
but
Switch currently. I think Scarlet and Violet are still actually the game. But starting this year, they're going to be using Pokemon Champions
mm,
for the VGC format. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everybody. This is the first Pokemon Champions just came out, so everyone's still wrapping their heads around it,
mm.
figuring out what the meta is and how to min max and all that. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, well,
In
they
August.
got three and a half. I think they got basically 4 months, right? I think it's in late August. Pardon me. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these players go at it. But I think
It's always
from
fun
what
when
I
it's the
saw,
first year for a new game as like the centerpiece
mm,
of a thing. I'm thinking of like when I would go to Evo back in the day, and it's like, oh, it's a new Street Fighter game headlining the event this year. It feels
yeah,
similar to that.
yeah, it's kind of a new thing to see. But do you know if the card game is involved somehow? I feel like the card game is so big now, right? It's
I don't
everybody's
know.
so popular. I don't know if
Probably. I mean, it's
there's probably some
Pokemon
element
Worlds, right?
there.
So it's a two-tiered thing. They have the VGC stuff, and there's also like an expo,
Yeah,
right?
I think there's the expo. It's kind of like almost like a fan convention. So
So I
that's
assume
three
that will
days. Yeah,
encompass all areas of Pokemon
yeah,
fandom, like
that's
all of the different branches of it. But I don't know if they're doing like card game tournaments as part of like tied to the VGC stuff. I don't know.
well, yeah. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I just
Yeah,
signed up because it's a good live. I like sharing experiences. Literally, this
yeah.
topic of this show. So
If you have
excited to
been
see
to a
that.
Pokemon tournament before and you have advice for us as we both go to our first one later this year, please leave a comment on whichever channel you're watching this on and let us know.
Yeah, yeah. Ping us on socials. I'd love to hear. Both of us love to hear. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I always like going to spectate kind of the best players in the world do their thing. So that'll be fun to see for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how they do with the card game, maybe we should fire up the card game and play. I think I've played a couple times on the phone, but I don't know if it's
Yeah,
worth playing. If it's an interesting game, but maybe that's
I
something
don't
we could
really
probably do.
invest in the physical card game. I have my
Mm,
binder from when I was a kid, but
mm.
I'm down to play on the phone game, the Pokemon trading card game Pocket. I
Mm.
pay for the premium subscription for that, which lets me open an extra, I think, 2 booster packs a day. So
Mm.
that's still a ritual that my son and I love to do every night, is we open our booster packs together before bed.
Oh, that's fun. That's
So
cute.
yeah, I've got like almost every main card that they've released, so I can build all kinds of decks and all that stuff. So if you ever want to
Whoa.
play that, I'm totally down.
Yeah, let's do that. Or yeah, I mean, I'm just curious because I think I dabbled in it, but I haven't really played much of it. So I'm curious to see how it compares. Recently I'm a big Magic the Gathering player. And I know I know it's very simplistic compared to that game. So I'm
Oh
curious
yeah,
to see how much
especially
more
if you're
simple.
talking about the phone game, because that is a simplified version of the Pokemon trading card
Oh,
game.
it's even more simplified. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
the
yeah,
phone
that's,
game is designed to be the it's like, matches last less than 5 minutes. It's Marvel Snap style,
oh, okay. Interesting.
like Pokemon cards.
Ah.
It's basically like they applied the Marvel Snap formula to the Pokemon trading card
Oh,
game.
so it's even. Oh, I thought the phone game was a literal translation of the card game, but
That
it's even
exists. That
simplified
has
version of it.
existed before, but that is not this. This Pokemon Trading Card
Oh.
Game Pocket, which is like the main one now,
Uh-huh.
is like it's separate from, it's its own streamlined rule set built specifically for short games on the phone.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I thought it was. Oh, okay. I
No, no,
was.
no, no.
My
Very
had a
short matches, very
preconceived
short
notion. I was
matches. That
incorrect.
I would not be playing it if we're talking like 30-minute matches, dude.
Do those games last for 30 minutes?
Like
Yeah, the real
the
games.
real
Yeah,
trading card. I mean, they last as long as a Magic game would sometimes. They can last.
really.
They can last a long time.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yikes. Yeah. Magic games can last for a pretty long time, just depending on how the course of the game goes. I mean, we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
20, 30 minutes per
yeah.
game, which isn't. I mean, it's not that long,
Even
but
10 minutes would be too much of an ask for me on a phone game.
yeah, that's that's fair, especially yeah if you're on the go.
Yeah.
But either way, excited to kind of see what the Pokemon just experience is like just in the real world.
See some
So
Pokemans. I can't wait. It's gonna
see
be
some
great.
Pokemons
Yeah.
and
Oh, and
hopefully
we'll
we'll.
have to make sure you have an auto catcher set up for your Pokemon Go, because I'm sure that'll be a thing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll have hopefully they'll have
All
I don't
kinds
know
of stuff
stuff
going on
there like
there.
events. I'm sure
Raids
they
all over
will.
the
It's
place and stuff.
all things Pokemon are there. Yeah, cool. Looking forward to that. But yeah, so moving on to the news. I saw this interesting stat the other day. I think this is from Alinea Analytics, which is a kind of third party consultancy analytics firm. They have a Substack which I subscribe to, which has some interesting stats at times. But the most recent issue had some sales data from. I don't want to share this on the video feed, but just sales data from on Steam of games that were originally on PlayStation or Xbox. And so, um, from looking at this chart, so there's a chart. I think it's look at Helldivers 2, games like Starfield, Ghost of Tsushima, Oblivion, which I guess is kind of a cheat because it's originally released on PC before coming on Xbox, but we'll see. But I believe this is the remastered version, which is a new game in itself. But a couple interesting things here I wanted to talk about. One was Helldivers 2 has sold 14.5 million copies. And this is an estimate on Steam, which is it's
That's crazy.
leagues above the next highest seller, which is I believe Starfield is the next highest seller, which is 3.8 million. So we're talking almost between 4 and 5 times as many copies for Helldivers 2. And then these other games. And to be fair, I think these other games are all single player games, right? We got Starfield, Ghost of Tsushima, Oblivion, Last of Us 1, Diablo 4, Stellar Blade, God of War, Grounded 2, which I actually don't know what Grounded 2 is. Do you know what that is?
That's an Xbox developed Microsoft Studios game, I think. Oh wait, is that which one is that?
Yeah, it is an Xbox game. I just don't know what kind of game it was. I actually did not play that one.
Yeah, that's the one where you're small, fighting bugs and stuff, right?
Is it a multiplayer game or is it a?
Yeah,
Okay, all right. So
I think
there's
so.
your first multiplayer game is down at 1.2 million. So it's less than a tenth of Helldivers 2. Uh, so yeah, a couple of interesting things here. I think the most interesting thing is how big of a success Helldivers 2 is. Do you think that's a fluke or is that kind of?
I think a part of it is that Helldivers 2 was a moment in time. That game came out at like the right time And there was also, it was, if I remember right, that was the first or one of the first big pushes that Sony made into PC gaming. They released, I think they released
Uh,
Spider-Man before in like Horizon, but
Not on
this,
gaming. I think. Let's see. I think it missed. Is this 2024? I think. Yeah, 2020.
I remember there
2020 was
being,
Horizon. So that's
oh,
been a while.
I
They've released
remember.
stuff for a
So this
while.
was. I remember this being a high-profile like PC. Like, oh, Sony's releasing this on PC. Maybe it was because it was tied to like the live service discussions. It was like the first of their big live service, the first, the first fruit of their big live service push that was widely publicized. So a lot of people were curious about it.
Yeah, and it also
Um,
launched. This is the big. I think this is the big difference. That it launched day and date, PS5 and PC and Steam.
oh yeah, that's
So that's
huge too. So people
yeah,
actually had the choice to buy it on Steam versus PlayStation, whereas a lot of the other stuff was console first.
yeah. Uh,
And there was another news cycle when they added PSN login requirement and then removed it, so that like it looked really bad for a minute, but then it looked really good, so that probably netted them some more sales too.
uh. I mean, that seems like a minor thing to net more sales, but I think I remember the controversy.
I'm just remembering
Which
like
is
conversation about this game was going on for a long time for various reasons. Like it was, this game was at the forefront of conversation in gaming for a long
yeah,
time, like longer
24,
than most games.
2024, a little over 2 years ago.
But yeah, I
But it's
mean,
interesting that the
props to
data show.
Arrowhead. Like it's a great game.
Yeah, it was a fun game. I have not played it since that first season, I want to say, but it's cool to see that. I mean, from this data, it looks like it's still got 500,000 daily active users on Steam, which is
Amazing.
pretty nuts for a game that's in its third year. It's interesting to see that Steam is 2/3 of the game's lifetime audience.
Hmm.
I think part of it's because I think people play more multiplayer games on PC. I don't know if that's
I would be curious to see how often this game has gone on sale on Steam too, because I feel like Steam sales are a lot more prevalent and lead to more sales than like PlayStation sales do. I don't have data to back that up, but
yeah, I don't know. I think that's interesting. I mean, I think I
it's
mean,
so
if
like
you
it's
look at
so
this
easy to
chart,
just impulsively like buy something on a Steam sale, you know, and they've got their wish list system so refined that like, oh, an item you wish listed is on sale. You know, it's
oh, they got the
uh
same for PlayStation.
oh, have
So
they started sending those
that's
emails
been
now too?
yeah, that's been around for a while. But I think the point is more like this chart is all Steam games. So even with the regular sale cadence, you could see here, it's still like so far ahead of everything else. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
part of it is I think that just magic, that's lightning in the bottle.
Oh
This
wait,
game
it
was
says PlayStation games with 1 million plus sold on Steam.
yeah. So these
So
are
only PlayStation developed games or only PlayStation published games. Why
sorry,
is
this
Grounded
chart.
2 on there? Or no, sorry, I was looking at the next one down. But the top one says made by Sony or Xbox.
Yes,
So it's not all Steam games.
right. These are
Steam sellers
exactly
made by Sony or Xbox.
yeah.
So yeah.
So we're comparing basically we're comparing apples to apples here of console games that were originally on console
Yeah.
and or PC, and then on Steam as well. Starfield's interesting because I think Starfield came out simultaneously on Xbox and Steam, so that's it's kind of an apples to apples comparison here as well. Which yeah, it makes sense that
Starfield,
Starfield
man, the
is.
marketing machine couldn't save that one.
I bought Starfield the day it came out, and I still have not played it yet. But I do want to get to it at some point. It's just one of those one of those I haven't gotten to yet points games.
It's coming out on
Um,
PS5 soon, right?
yeah, I'm not double dipping on that one. I already paid for the Steam version of that.
I don't really have any interest in it. I don't know. I just don't think I'm down for those types of games anymore. But
Just so lonely there.
I hope everybody loves it on PS5.
But yeah, so the point is, I think just getting back to the original discussion was, yeah, I think I mean, it's got to be just a lightning in the bottle thing, right? Of this game, it's just a confluence of it's a fun multiplayer game that I think coming out simultaneously was a big boost too, because for multiplayer games, I think you need this big kind of like critical mass of people playing the game and people loving the game that because it's kind of infectious, right? The network effect of hey, everyone on your buddy list is playing this game, you got to get it, or every streamer you're looking at is playing the game, or every whatever. When the chatter is like inescapable, that makes a game like this even more of a must buy. And I think which I think does wonders for the actual game's lifespan, is because these games live and die based off of how many people play the game like continuously, right? Because
Yeah.
this is a literally live service game.
The fact that it was a team focused multiplayer game that's not a hero shooter was like, oh, really?
Yeah,
Like
it's
something different? Well, let me
Yeah.
check it. That it had something going for it there too. And then there was all the, the constant news stories about it, people being reminded about it. They had a really strong seasonal system with all the war bonds and everything, and that was really player friendly too. So I think they just made a lot of really smart calls. They capitalized when it made sense to, and it helps that they have a great game on their hands.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think but I also do think that it's good that they think that, yeah, and absolutely the right call, I think, putting in day and date. The other reason I wanted to bring this up too is because I don't know if you saw the news. You probably saw the news a few weeks ago that Sony's kind of like pull back on their PC exclusive, or sorry, PC game releases now,
Yeah.
right? So they're gonna dial back putting kind of the big first party games on PC. And I think a lot of I think the speculation is a lot of it is due to these kinds of sales, right? So putting Helldivers aside, because Helldivers did really well. But if you look at the sales for the rest of the games, these are like these big single player open world games that Sony is known for. Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, Stellar Blade, God of War. They haven't really sold that well. I mean, we're looking at 2.7, 2.5 million over
comparatively. I mean,
comparatively, but also just, it's wild because I think on PS,
we have to remember that,
huge.
like we were just describing, Helldivers 2 is lightning in a bottle, and not everything is going to be that,
Yeah, we're talking about The Last of Us, Justin. That's one of the most.
Oh yeah, well on Steam, it came out on Steam how long after it had already been out on PS4 and then PS5, and so this is, a lot of people already played it by that point. This goes back to you calling out that Helldivers 2 coming out day and date on Steam was a huge boon for it, because most of these games came out on PlayStation first.
They did, yeah. I think every one of these was a delayed PC release, and I think that goes. I think there is a big deal. It's a big deal for games to release first. Wherever it releases first is kind of where it's going to be played the most, right?
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Hence the Grand Theft Auto news story that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
which is also on our list.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto, meaning it's interesting that that game is console only first still, because it's got such a huge PC base right now.
It's I mean, it's just they say like, oh no marketing deal, like, okay, like,
well, they have a marketing deal. That's sure. Public. They have.
I mean, like, it's not because of the marketing deal. Okay, like maybe, but the other side of it is like everyone's gonna buy it on console because like I'll buy GTA 6 wherever it is. I just need it. I need my GTA 6, and then when it comes out on PC later, they'll buy it again so they can play it on their 6080 or they can mod it and whatever they want to do. Yeah, I mean, they're going to make a lot more money releasing it on console first than they would if they did a simul launch.
I disagree with that. I think they make way more money. It'd be like Helldivers, or you'd have to see like whatever extra revenue.
No, and PlayStation is going to sell a lot more PS5s as a result of this too. No, there's definitely like it's. I think that long run they're going to make a lot more money delaying the PC release.
It'll be interesting to see. I think. Well, my answer to that question was if they day and date, they would, of course, they would sell more copies of everything. If everything was released the first day,
they would sell more on Steam if they went day and date, but they wouldn't sell as many copies of the game overall. Because everybody would just buy it on Steam and not buy it on PlayStation.
So you're thinking people...
I'm saying everyone's going to buy it on PlayStation, and then they're double dipping is what it comes down to. They're going to buy it on PlayStation, and then they're going to buy it on PC when it comes out.
But you don't think people would double dip and buy it on Steam and then buy it on PlayStation later?
No, why would you? No, if you can get it on Steam now and play it on the ultimate, like on your ultimate gaming rig, like why would you then get it on? Because the draw of PC gaming is that you can play it on the best possible hardware and you can mod it, you can do whatever you want with it, all that fun stuff. There are various advantages, but and hence console manufacturers coming in and trying to differentiate with the controller features and all that stuff. But I think that a lot of people, if they had the option of buying it on Steam up front, would just do that and be done and not ever buy it on a console.
That's interesting. I think I'd give it a thought. Like I have a really good PC. I have a 5080 GeForce. There are games that I'd rather have it on PS because it's a couch game. I want to play this on my couch. I don't want to be here. And I know we got Moonlight, Sunshine, we got all these solutions for streaming, but it doesn't hold the candle actually something native. Like I'd rather have my PC connected to my TV.
Your 5080 has an HDMI port.
Yeah, I'm not going to carry a cable on there. But the point is that there's something to be said for having, I think, a native, I guess, device hooked up to the TV. And it's always
that's a road that I've been going down a lot over the past few years, actually, because I had my PC hooked up with an HDMI cable to my TV, but it was taking up too much space. So I moved it under the desk, and now I have the whole streaming situation via the NVIDIA Shield setup. And it's great. It works really well, but it's not as good. It doesn't feel as seamless as pick up and play as, turning on the PlayStation controller. Boop, it's working.
Like, it's moved right there. And also, like, there's stuff like variable refresh rate that does not really work well on that solutions. It's 4K. There's a lot of stuff that isn't like, pixel perfect, which I think makes a difference when you're collecting details.
You would be surprised. But yeah,
I just tried playing Pragmata on my with Moonlight and Sunshine, and it just looked blown out. I didn't want to. I had to do a lot of fiddling to get to work with it. So I was like,
there's a lot of fiddling. You can get it to feel native, but there's a lot of fiddling involved.
Yeah. But regardless, I would take a pause, and I would pay. There are the games that I might want to play on a PS5 first. So I think that's
you're saying that you would buy GTA. So if it came out on PS5 and Steam, you would buy it on PS5 and play it, and then maybe also buy it on Steam later.
I probably would not buy it on Steam at all. I think I would rather just play it on my PS5 Pro, just for the type of game it is. Yeah. The only reason I would get it on PC is, I guess, down the road, if there's some cool mods that I want to get into, or my friends are playing online that I wanted to like kind of jump back in, then I would have a reason to double dip at that point. But I think I would rather just have it on PS5 Pro initially, because that feels like a game I want to enjoy.
That's where I would want to play it too. But yeah, I guess the argument I'm trying to make is what it boils down to is like releasing on PC later is 1,000% a business move, and it's a smart one.
Yeah, which is interesting. Well, I still don't know. I think either that's specific to GTA, and they can just have a big swinging balls thing where, because GTA is
that's what it is, because they know people will buy it twice. Tier. They know people will. I'm not. Give it to me. I don't care if it's on Switch 1 and I got to play it at 600p. Give it to me. I want it, and then they'll buy it again on whatever the best possible platform they can experience it on is.
It's just interesting because part of the reason I brought up this, I want to bring this discussion, is that this chart is basically showing that a lot of these games on Steam, these big Sony first party games like Spider-Man, The Last of Us, they're not selling that well on PC. If you compare it to like the overall lifetime numbers on PS5, that tells me that people are not double dipping when it comes to these big games that are,
2.7 million people bought Ghost of Tsushima. That's still a lot of copies, considering the game came out on PlayStation earlier.
That's I don't know, it's over the last 4 years. That's not that many. I mean, we just saw Pragmata sold 2 million in 2 days. So to me, this is like, this is over 4 years of data. Like, this is 4 years of 2.7 versus 2 days at Pragmata. That's your button right there. Back after technical difficulties. Gotta love internet going down. That's so fun. But yeah, just to wrap up our talk about PC and console game releases, it's interesting to see how different how the trend of these sales of these Sony games has gone down from the original from the original Last of Us Part 1 to Last Part 2. I mean, it's almost like half of the sales. And maybe just people aren't interested in continuing it on. It's not really getting new fans. I think it's maybe just,
I also think we need to recognize that Helldivers 2 was an outlier.
Yeah, and it's just
because it was crazy.
And then the Xbox games, Starfield and Oblivion, those are day and date as well. So those are pretty decent. I mean, those are good. Those are good sales. I mean, that's probably justifies that. Yeah. But it's interesting to see that maybe the reason why Sony might be pulling back is because they're saying that, hey, like, 1.1 million copies of Spider-Man, is that really worth, the exclusivity of having it being on, console only? Like, you got to buy the PlayStation to play the good, the good stuff. So, or I mean, the good stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see. But
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's certainly something to be said for the perception of that PlayStation prestige and getting back to that, the idea of that, like, the best games are only on PlayStation. I mean, it's a tale as old as time in video games, right? It's, you want to have the exclusives so that people have to play on your platform. Maybe we're getting back to that. After some experiments that maybe didn't go the way the former leadership wanted them to.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, we'll see. It is like kind of like free, I guess free, quote unquote, but it is some free sales or free fans that I think, it's arguable whether people would have bought a PlayStation anyway. And I have a lot of friends who, were interested in playing like Horizon, but they have no interest in paying for a PlayStation, like, at all.
Yeah.
So it's, there's always that little tricky little balance there. But I think we can all agree that Grand Theft Auto 6 is the huge outlier for anything.
Grand Theft
really.
Auto 6 is going to destroy the entire industry, and we will all rise from the ashes of it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, the one interesting note from the news that I wanted to kind of wrap up on here in the news section was, I think Jason Schreier did a interview with Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two, and it sounds like the teams at Rockstar have been given unlimited budget, unlimited financial resources and creative resources to do whatever their vision is. So
I mean,
I don't know if that's just,
considering the absolutely
but
obscene amount of money that game is going to make, like, I could see it. And I'm sure that, if Rockstar leadership came to Papa Take-Two and was like, I would like a diamond encrusted yacht, they'd be like, what's the business expense? I'm sure it's not, unlimited, but it's a fun bit.
I mean, it's essentially unlimited. I think if there's something that someone wanted to do that was a good idea for the game that everyone signed up on,
any reasonable request coming from the team, like, yeah, go for it, right? Yeah. I don't see why not, because that game is going to make, like, how much money has GTA 5 made over it's insane.
The previous one sold
200.
The previous one sold 225 million copies. It's the second best selling game of all time after Minecraft. 225 is insane. Sure. We just saw how Helldivers made 15. That's like huge. This is leagues above that. There's levels, like, it's just insane. Like, it's unfathomable. I mean, and speaking of like double dipping, when we were at PlayStation, we see people buy GTA 5 like 4 to 5 times. I'm just always like surprised at how many times someone else can buy the game again. It's like it's just incredible. It's just an incredible phenomenon. And yeah,
people like video games. People like their GTAs.
Dual GTAs, and
do you remember
GTA,
what
right?
it was like? Do you remember
game.
what it was like when GTA 3 came out? Do you remember, like, where you were, metaphorically
I never
speaking?
played GTA 3. I ignored this.
But,
I know it was big.
I mean, I'm sure you remember the impact, right? I'm sure you have some vague recollection of, like, everybody talking about GTA 3 or something.
All my classmates were talking about it. Yeah, people were like, "Ooh, this is like the big." I mean, I remember being I never.
It was
got
crazy,
into it
man. There was
4.
nothing. There was nothing like it before that. It's man, being able to, like, do the things that you can do in that game in a 3D environment, because it's GTA 3. There was GTA 1 and 2. They were top down before, but bringing it to 3D really, like, and that's, of course, that turned into politician bait and all that fun stuff, trying to get them banned and all that stuff. But
that's because how popular it was. But
yeah, the stuff that you could do in that game was unprecedented and like, really technically well executed. Like, it was all done in a, like, because you could do crazy things, but it's not all just done for shock value. It's done in a very tongue-in-cheek, like, the way that they handle the satire in the game, I think, is what really lets that game succeed in what it's trying to do. I think if it was trying to take itself too seriously, it wouldn't do as well. The fact that they can play the satire card whenever they need to gives them a lot of leeway in that game.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And I finally got when I played GTA 4, and I played GTA 4. I played 4 and 5, and I get it now. And yeah, they're getting increasingly more cinematic and whatnot. And it is. I'll say this though. I mean, we can make fun of GTA we want, but it's they're actually good. They're great games. They're incredible games, incredible cinematic
Yeah.
games. They, like you
I haven't
said,
been
that's
able to
not
finish one yet. I got close with
really.
5.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a game finisher. I always finish these games. I never play
I've given each one of them a fair shake, but yeah, I never quite. I always
Wow.
peter out before the end. Maybe this will be the one.
Yeah, that's I feel like the stories are so good in these games, but they
They're
do
good. I
require
just
you to
lose interest
focus
at a
on
certain
finishing
point.
the story though. You can't get distracted with side quests, in which I'm sure
That
that's
is
maybe that's
that is a problem for me. That is a problem for me.
But I mean, and I'm sure for a lot of people too, it's an issue. But if you stick to the story and actually do the story, it's
I got
incredible
very
stuff.
far into the story of 5. I remember, like, I'm probably not too far from the end. If I don't remember a single thing about what was happening in the story, but
yeah,
I remember being impressed by it though, thinking like, oh wow, this is good stuff.
No, yeah, and all like the debate of the politicians talking about this game being harmful to the youth is just
Sure. I mean,
it's just
different topic
smoke.
for a
It's
different
just
podcast. Yeah,
it's so silly because these games
it's
are
all
actually
BS.
really well crafted for sure. I mean, yeah. Yeah. All right. So moving on to our main topic of the week, finally, after a long journey, arduous journey. I wanted to talk about
Video games.
video games and how do you discover video games. And I think we wanted to kind of just start a conversation. Obviously we're not gonna. I don't think we'll get to the I don't think there's an answer for say, but I think it's interesting to
I
just
turn
kind
on
of
my
think about.
PlayStation, and whatever PlayStation Store tells me to buy, I buy it.
Yeah, that's
Easy.
so easy. Just why bother? Why bother
It
thinking?
says for you right there.
It clearly must be for you.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's not the way you discover games. I'm curious to see how
Not
you discover
historically.
games. What's that seems
I mean,
sarcastic.
there are honestly, like, I'm so steeped in video games that I could discover games by like living my life, by following the people I follow on various social channels, by talking to the people I talk to, both in my personal life and at work, by reading the news outlets that I read, the websites and whatnot, even going to the places I go. When I am at the mall, I always make it a point to, peek into GameStop and see what's
Really?
going on in there.
Oh.
Like, if I don't really buy games from GameStop these days, but it's still like I like to go in and just kind of like get the vibe of like what's going on. And sometimes I'll see something interesting about like, oh, I don't know. It's, there are lots of ways to discover games. And, I think, just a few episodes ago, we were going through was it a discovery queue or something on Steam?
Yeah,
I think
our Steam queues, I think.
yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, I mean, that's actually legitimately great way to discover games. I think Steam, is, making some strides in like personalization and curation, which is beneficial to both the player and the business in the long run. So,
well, let's get into some more specifics. I think those are. I mean, and so specific meaning like for you specifically, is there like do you actually look at Steam or is that something you're just saying? And
I think these days, the primary way that I learn about games is first on some form of social media.
Okay.
Usually on like a Blue Sky, or maybe like I see a YouTube short or something. I think honestly, like I think Blue Sky's a lot of it right now because that's the social network that I check the most and like trust the most, I guess.
And you're following, what kind of people on Blue Sky are you following? I'm assuming you're following like,
that's a big part of it. It's just
and
the people. Yeah, lots of developers, I mean, I've made a lot of friends in the industry, and a lot of my friends like to play video games. So it's just natural that, a lot of the people I follow on Blue Sky post things about video games that they're playing or that they're excited about. I also follow certain outlets and, news outlets. And we'll see stuff pop up on those, but that's like in RSS feeds. I'll see news stories pop up there, but that's less frequent. I think it's mostly social media these days.
Really? So
yeah.
So you'll see like a buddy of yours. I mean, let's say our good buddy Nick McConnell, who's a friend of the show and guest. Say like he's playing a game and like he'll post about it. And that's kind of like what you're
There's
like
it's a
that, right?
non-zero number, the amount of games that I bought as a direct result of him posting about them. I
Specifically,
think
but
it's 2 or 3 actually I bought
nice.
as a direct result of him posting about them.
That's that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
tastemaker, man. Like if you're into indie games, follow Nick McConnell. He knows what he's talking
Oh
about.
yeah, for sure. I can tell he's definitely passionate about indie games, and that's yeah. I think a lot of us are. I think I used to follow a lot more people because when Twitter was the more of a thing, it was easier to kind of have a consolidated space for to see, people from developers to coworkers to journalists to game
I mean,
reviewers.
that
I
was
think
the
that's kind of
answer a few years ago, right? Was like, where do you find out about video? Twitter. You know, it's like
mm,
that was the answer for a lot of people back then. I think because yeah, thinking about it, it was the same way. Like, if you asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have said Twitter is where I find
yeah.
out about a lot of my games.
I cannot bring myself to use Blue Sky, and I know I'm using it for the show, and I'm trying to like there, but I just cannot. It doesn't seem fun to me to scroll. I mean, I don't, and this is just a me thing. So I've been what I find games is more a little less more detached in terms of I either will talk to someone specifically like you, or if I talk to another friend that I actually talk to in like directly um or I think a lot of what I look at is I do use OpenCritic and Metacritic now honestly as a easy shortcut, and I think a lot of people do, I would imagine, like if you and it's a double-edged sword because you're going to get this chance for discovery is probably like less than than finding the diamonds in a rough, the true diamonds in a rough, if you
Sure,
fall
if you're
find.
only looking for like quote unquote good games.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people just don't have the time to delve that deep into independent games or a lot of those kind of more obscure games. And my gaming tastes have always been kind of more, let's see, I would say like kind of left of center, meaning like kind of mainstream, but a little bit adventurous. I mean, I can go pretty, adventurous if if I hear it's great, but I'm not the kind of person that's like, trying to find the game that has, 5 Twitch followers that is a very hyper specific in the genre niche. And that's not to
Yeah,
say those
I don't
games are bad.
specifically go out of my
Um,
way looking for those types of games, but sometimes I happen upon them because some random person on Blue Sky who really likes these niche games found a
mhm.
really good, like Sectoria is a good example.
Mm,
I think I was making a big deal about that a few months ago, but
mhm.
yeah, it's it boils down a lot to who you follow on these networks.
Yeah. And I'm trying to like, yeah, and I think I mean, we've mentioned this before, but I think I'll say it again. I think it's the best thing you could do to find recommendations is find someone you trust, that meaning that you trust their opinions of like, hey, if you are worried about someone being, a paid shill or paid contact, then, someone that you trust that has an opinion that's going to be more, real and authentic. And or if they are sponsored, they will disclose that. I mean,
You can trust shared bites. We ain't getting paid nothing.
yeah, we're getting paid nothing for now, but we are open to sponsorships.
Not yet.
But at the very least, you want people that are trustworthy, and that they, if they were to be sponsored, they would tell you. There's one thing to be shady about it, one thing to not be. Everyone's got to get
Right.
paid. But having the same like taste, meaning like, because I would love story-based games. This, everyone knows this, and I love. And if someone tells me that there's a really cool like independent like game that's kind of it's like a visual novel that's got a really cool story about X, Y, and Z, I am more likely to pick that up because I know that if those are the games that this person likes and I like similar games, and we might have it's a good chance the game might be good, or the game I might enjoy the game.
Yeah.
And
It goes all the way back to reading video game magazines when we were younger and finding the reviewers whose tastes align with your own,
yeah,
and finding the games that they like.
and I think that's a step that a lot of people don't necessarily think about, because I think when a lot of people look at video game reviews or OpenCritic, they're just looking at a number and they're going,
They're
"Oh,
looking
this
at
is
the outlet. IGN gave it a 7.
yeah,
It's well,
IGN
no,
gave it a 7,
IGN
good."
didn't. The
Uh,
author writing for IGN gave it a
yeah,
7.
that's Yep. Make a good point there is that look for the specific person who writes the review to make and then actually read the review. I know
Yeah.
it's hard nowadays because we don't have a lot of time and we're kind of our brains have been rotted to need instant dopamine hits, but
Goldfish attention spans.
we
Yeah.
just need like so look beyond the number. The number is there to give you a kind of a shortcut into why if it's something is like of a certain threshold and that's not mean to come across as kind of like scolding, but it's something that I've noticed that people, discourse wise, that people fixate on the number. And this is something that's
It's
been
worth
going on for
reminding
years.
yourself that 7s and 8s are still really good too.
Yeah. To be fair, I think the games industry, the things rarely get below a 7. Like, I feel like it's like this really condensed spectrum of like
That's a different conversation, but I think a big part of that
6 to 9.
is because people don't bother reviewing games that are worse than a 7 or a 6 or whatever. Like there's so like
Yeah.
there you go look at the Switch shop. I'll show you some 1s and 2s. Like there's a lot of them out there. They're just not getting reviewed.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, in a day and age where there's so much slop now, like there's
Yeah.
literal slop that's shovelware, that's whatever, it makes it really tough there. But in the history of game reviews, most things are really between, there's like a band of 6 and 9. And that's only to say that it's easy to fixate on something that's not a 9 or a 10 because it's easy to dismiss it because it's like it doesn't meet this bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
We all, we don't have unlimited time. We only want to play
yeah,
the best.
exactly. Yeah, I think that's a big thing we have nowadays as a society is that I only have time
Yeah.
for the best, and which
I
is
mean,
fair. I think
7.8.
that's a
No,
valid. I think it's a
ain't
valid
got time
thing
for
to
that.
start with,
Yeah.
because I know people like I watch a lot of movies, as you know, and I've seen I see over like almost 200 movies a year, and I know people who only watch either the Best Picture winners at the Oscars, or they only watch movies like when the Oscar Best Pictures are announced, or it's like a big summer movie that a big blockbuster they have to see, and or yeah, that's kind of the two times, and that's fine. I mean,
That's
that's valid, but it's when you're in that situation, it's like, like, yeah, you only got a certain amount of time, so I gotta, what's the best, tell me the best. um
It's
and I
it's
think,
it's worth going out of your way to find things that resonate with you personally that aren't necessarily the best thing out there, though. That's like
yes,
saying that you're only going to eat Michelin star quality
yeah,
food. But then you're missing out on some of the best, crappy dive bar burgers and pizzas out there. Because they're not rated highly or whatever. That's, I don't know. Maybe not the best analogy.
no, it
It
is,
worked
yeah.
better in my head, but
The old saying goes that I think the best Chinese restaurants are the ones that are like 3.5 on Yelp,
yeah,
because
yeah.
if it's 4 or 5, that's like you're getting to like the paid influencer slash
Yeah,
fancy stuff.
yeah, we'll give you a discount if you give us a 5-star review. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you get in the 2s and 3 or 2, the 2s, that's actually bad. But,
Yeah.
but something that's like 3.5, where the people are complaining about, the worst thing about it is like the service is bad or they were
They
slow.
were rude. Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, the food's gonna be great though, and that's kind of what you're
Yeah.
there for, right? You want some really good food. But yeah, I think to help your analogy along is, yeah, like it's 7s or 8s. Yeah, it might be a 7 or 8 if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, but there might be something in that 7 game that you love. Like, you just love like games that have a lot of puns in them, and there's like, this game's all about puns, or just silly gameplay mechanics that are kind of your, like, kind of like scratch your itch of
It's like
of good things.
Vampire Crawlers. I can't stop playing it. I've been playing it for a couple weeks now, and it's not going to be a game of the year, but it's probably going to have more hours of gameplay from me this year than anything else because it's just crack. I can't stop playing it.
Yeah, and that's great. That's awesome that you found. Then those kinds of game you like, and you can look for more like it, or look for people who like the similar games. I've played Vampire. Actually, I played Survivors. I haven't played the new one yet. But I played it for a little bit, and I had a good time. But it's not something that I'm going to come back to just because I know myself. It's not like something I need to like get myself lost in. Though
Yeah,
I
that's
do
fair.
appreciate the game, and I appreciate people who like it. But I just it's not necessarily for me, and that's
Yeah.
okay. And I think that's a part of the journey. And I think that's something that I think both of us would encourage people to really kind of work at, is that developing your own tastes. And that's words used a lot, but that in this example, it really means finding out what you like. And that's something that a lot of
That
people
can
kind of like don't do
be
anymore.
It sounds simple, but that's actually it can be a really difficult thing to do.
Yeah, especially when you don't know where to start. So I think, from what we can just kind of bring it back there. I think it's okay to start with OpenCritic or Metacritic or whatever, but I think maybe a tip is when you look at like or IGN or Polygon or name your big outlet, but when you do those things, like look at kind of like read some of the reviews, like see why they gave it a 9, see why they gave it a 10,
Yeah.
and or see why they gave it a 7. Like I think that's even more important than watching seeing why they gave it a 9.
Yeah,
um
maybe they gave it a 7 because the dialogue is super cheesy, but maybe you love cheesy dialogue, you
yeah,
know?
or maybe it's something you don't care about, right? Maybe it's something you
Yeah.
just don't really need. That's not going to be a deal breaker for you, but for other people maybe a deal breaker. So I think
Maybe you just
the
really love water in your games.
water physics, it's hard to do. Actually, hair physics
That
is
was
the hardest thing
a
to do, right? Hair
that was
or
a cheap
the
attempt at an IGN too much water joke.
I yeah, that kind of went over my head. So yeah, I think really get at like kind of finding out why, and then therefore, then when you look at those reviews of like sevens or ends, you can kind of pick out, okay, this is why this person didn't like the game, but this is why I may like the game, and then yeah, I think some of the best. You may be surprised at how many diamonds in the rough you can find from there.
I mean, there have
Um,
been countless conversations over the generations of gaming editorial about what is the perfect review scale, and like is it possible to be objective in reviews, and should we abolish review scores altogether? And there have been many outlets over the years who came out and straight up said, we're just not going to do review scores. We will say, I think it was Kotaku at one point was doing like recommend or not recommend, or like what we
mm-hmm.
like or what we
Yeah,
don't like, and like
yeah.
just not giving it a numerical
You have to
score.
read the review. Yeah.
Yeah, so which like I think is admirable, but also precludes you from things like OpenCritic or Metacritic, which is bad
Yeah,
business.
and I think
So
that's why they eventually. I don't know if they actually came
yeah,
back with it, but I think it's a big reason why you got to play that game is because
yeah,
those are such a big part of
yeah.
our just the way people discover stuff and the ecosystem between the media outlets and the players. I would also, and this is probably less applicable to games because I don't think they do this, but Rotten Tomatoes has been a really bad thing for the movie industry.
You've
Um,
mid your displeasure with Rotten
yeah, I think
Tomatoes
did I gave
now.
my rant earlier about this, right? Because
You
yeah,
have, yeah,
the
but feel free
important
to give it again if it'll make you feel better.
I don't get the whole thing, but just remember for Rotten Tomatoes, it's not that's the percentage of Rotten Tomatoes is not the score they gave it. The percentage of Rotten Tomatoes is the percentage of people who gave it a 6 or better. And if you think about it from game terms, that's not a high bar. like, and I think it's so many people
Is it a
easily
6 or
conflate.
better? Is that what it was? I thought it was either a yay or nay, like a thumbs up,
No,
thumbs
it's
down
a
system.
3 out of 5 or better, basically. That's why you get the fresh or not
Interesting
fresh.
nuance that I never realized.
Yeah, see, that's the one something new today. It's a 3 or 5. It's 3 out of 5 or better. And that's why something can be labeled as fresh, and then the tomato meter just says what percentage of all the panel says the thing is fresh.
Yeah, it could be a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's a 7 out of 10 according to everybody who saw it.
Yeah, or it's a 6 out of 10. Honestly, I mean, yeah, or it's even a 5.5 out of average. It's yeah. So that's the first thing. That's the number. If you take anything away about Rotten Tomatoes, is that just do not look at it as an actual percentage score. That's what Metacritic does.
98% on Rotten Tomatoes does not mean it's 98% good.
Correct. Yes. It just means 98% of people thought it was better than
Thought it was
mid.
at least pretty good.
Thought it was better than mid. Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty good is, that's a big
It's at
range,
least
right?
a high mid.
It's at least slightly above mid. And when you look at it at that point, then you can really put on your actual thinking cap and go, hey, like,
Just
why do
we need to make parody stickers with the logo that say slightly better than mid, according to at least this many people.
Yeah. That probably won't do them any favors, but I think they'll do us favors in terms of us meaning
we're going to lose our
fans.
Rotten Tomatoes sponsorship after this episode.
Well, darn, we got to find another one. But yeah, it's less Rotten Tomatoes for Rotten Tomatoes for film and for TV and for music's less so nowadays, but you're really for film. It's really just remember that. But it's easy to, but yeah, just to close that point, it's really easy to get lost in numbers. I think just the thing is look at the reasons why, and it takes a little more effort, but I think it's really worth it because you get to a point where you can easily kind of suss out whether something's for you or not, which I think is more valuable down the road.
Yeah.
But I wanted to also bring up the thing before we go is that there was a article on IGN. Speaking of IGN, but I think they were looking at a stream from Tim Kaine, who's one of the co-creators of Fallout. And I think there's he talked about basically how people discover games now, and how a lot of people kind of wait for their opinion to be told to them by their favorite YouTuber or a streamer. Um, and I think it's kind of it's influenced how game developers and him specifically and his from his experience. And I'm just kind of paraphrasing what he said was that they actually think about, oh, how is this gonna how are people gonna react to this game? So they're almost like they're developing the game to make people feel a certain way, or to game the influencer game versus
Hmm.
making the game they want.
Make
Now
the
that's a
game
different
for the
discussion. I don't want to get into that.
influencers, and then the influencers will make everybody else want it.
Yeah, the thing that's not the point I wanted to make was, he has this line in his stream where he says, his fear though revolves around the increased trend of players he's seen looking for someone to tell them how to feel. And so
Uh,
this is different from what we're talking about in terms of finding someone that you like or trust, because you want to you can use that as a good like a heuristic for seeing if you'll like a game. But I think it crosses a line when you start to have the same opinion as that person sight unseen. And this is a nuance here. I think this is what I wanted to discuss was, do you find yourself ever like feeling this way, in terms of, hey, there's a new game out, again, and you hear about it from a friend, and this person actually hated the game, by all accounts, it should be something you like. That's why you trust the guy. Do you find yourself like sharing that opinion, or like wanting, or like kind of latching on to that thought?
I have a couple parts to my response here. First, I think um it ties back into our earlier conversation about following the right people and
Mm-hmm.
knowing whose opinions you should be paying attention to versus whose opinions you should probably not be paying attention to. I think that's a very important part of the puzzle. But I think another part of it ties into a conversation I've been seeing raised a lot lately with regards to artificial intelligence, and that is the idea
Mm,
of cognitive surrender, the idea of letting
yeah.
somebody else or something else do the thinking for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it accentuates something that we talked about earlier, which is the importance of discovering who you are and what you like and what your own tastes are on your own without letting somebody else do that for you. I think it's tempting to, load up the 50th video from your favorite YouTuber and settle into that groove of listening to their impressions on whatever the latest patch for this game was, and like, oh well, they said this gun is overpowered now, so that gun is overpowered now. It's I'm referring, of course, to specifically to Dado and Destiny.
Oh, Dado.
The classic, like, my opinion has arrived meme, if any old Destiny players remember that. But that was a classic thing, is when Data would publish a video talking about the latest Bungie developer deep dive or whatever, the first comment would be like, oh good, my opinion has arrived. And it's exactly what we're talking about here, about like, let somebody else who has already thought about this process all that and come to a conclusion, so I don't have to, so I can think about something else. And then, like, it's like bada bing bada boom, I can
Yeah.
pretend that I know something about this thing that I haven't actually thought more than 20 seconds about, and I can sound like I know what I'm talking about. But I mean, it's an easy trap to fall. I do it all the time. It's like, I mean, that's a huge part of, I mean, we do it all, we're doing it, like, we're talking about,
Constantly, yeah.
yeah, it's constantly just talking about stuff that we haven't personally, done, or I don't know. It's complicated. Is what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, I think you make a good point, though. I think the cognitive surrender concept is an interesting. I mean, like, thank you for putting the scientific term for that. But I think that's definitely a worry when it comes to using AI LLMs, especially the kind of response they give. And that's a topic we don't have to delve too deep into yet. But I think, but I do think I see the connection as that. I think technologies like that are really accelerating the amount of people or the amount of situations where this is going to happen. Is that if people just don't care, they just want to surrender their opinion, their thoughts to the result. Like if the results is more important than the process to getting there, then yeah, I could see a situation where people are like that.
People want things to be easy, and we are starting to see that that includes thinking about things.
Yeah, even having opinions, right? Like
Yeah.
to your point, it's hard to divorce that, like divorce hearing someone's opinion from something that you haven't experienced yourself, because that's going to color your expectation or your experience when it finally does happen, or when you finally do experience the thing or play the game, let's say.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
impossible to make time for everything, but yeah, sorry, I interrupted. I'll let you finish.
yeah. And yeah, and to your point, yes, there is a reason why we're doing this, is because not all we don't have the unlimited time to literally play every game, and because that's if you had unlimited time, that's probably what you would do, right? Is you just try everything and go, oh, this is the one, I got it after hours of playing, and we just can't because of time differences. And that's why we have to come up with these heuristics, these shortcuts, in order to get us to these filters of finding the things we actually want to do and want to play. And
At
it's
a
hard
certain
to
level, like if you're that entrenched in something like we are with video games or like you with movies, you have to rely on the opinions of others to stay up to date with everything
yes,
happening across the industry, because you can't do everything. There's too much art, you can't
yeah,
experience it all.
yeah. For sure. And I think that's the key difference, though, I think is when we're in the thing I always try to do, and I think you do too, is that you take into account people's opinions, but you try to you try to actually have your own thoughts when you experience the thing. And yes, it's
Yeah.
hard I mean, I think it's good it's okay to acknowledge that, okay, your experience might be colored differently by hearing someone's say, oh, this movie sucks. But when you actually see it, have the cognitive balls to actually go, hey, this movie is actually good, or hey,
I
this
think that starts to get at the nut of the spoiler discussion too, about wanting to be able to form your own opinions about something instead of having, a reviewer or a marketing team kind of precede you with what you should be feeling about something happening in the movie. It goes back to another conversation we had before about wanting to go into things blind whenever possible, or at least like I'll watch the first trailer to see if something seems like it's up my alley, but then I'll try not to learn too much about it before I experience it for myself, because I want to form that opinion for myself. I don't want to go into it knowing that like, oh, so-and-so at this outlet said that the inventory management system is a little obtuse. So then I'm playing the whole game, thinking about the inventory system being obtuse,
yeah.
It's, yeah, I think that we're kind of getting at a similar arriving at a similar place that we've arrived at with similar
Well,
discussions in the
the
past.
the thing but to bring this back to the article that the developer's talking about, is that he's worried that people are just uh waiting for someone to tell them how to feel. And I think that's where the danger comes, is that if you're at a point where you don't have an opinion on something, it's totally okay to not have an opinion on something. You
Yeah.
just say, hey, I don't care enough, or hey, I hear it's good, or I hear it's bad. But you don't have to make it your crusade to actually follow through with that opinion. I think that's kind of what we're seeing nowadays with this, for example, with Marathon, all this pile, or Concord, or High Guard, name your gaming controversy, is that there's people are just piling on opinions when they haven't played the game yet, and they're seeing this like really this mass kind of mob mentality this is a failure, we gotta pile on. And this has been like a phenomenon that I've noticed. It's really only in games for now. I mean, there's examples in all parts of life, but I can't think of like when something like a High Guard or a Concord happened, where everyone just piled on it. Like, and a lot of these people haven't even played the game. I played Concord. I enjoyed myself. It's not a bad game. Probably a 7 out of 10 game, but it's not a 0 out of 10 game, right?
Yeah,
I had
it's
fun
not
playing it.
a eradicate from existence out of 10
Yeah,
game.
it's not like offensive enough that it caused this sort of reaction. Like
Yeah.
it's more of like a, hey, this is a fine game that probably won't cut through the noise of the Helldivers or whatever. But and but if you read the socials, or if you read kind of the reactions of people, you would start to think that, oh wow, this game like murdered people's children and sucked their blood.
It's
Like
it's a decent
the
game that
reaction.
its business model would not allow to survive. Like it's just, and it gets back to I think I mentioned this last time, but I shouted out the Stop Killing Games movement. They got like official
Oh, and
UK like recognition, and
oh,
they've been promised an update by I think June, sometime in June. Like they basically the leader of the Stop Killing Games movement in the UK went and was heard at by is it Parliament or some I don't know some I am
in the UK,
woefully ignorant
okay.
about UK politics, but they got a hearing, and the people who they spoke to were basically on board. Like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. We will look into this and we'll get back to you. So like, kind of a very good. You know, there's still a lot of work to be done, but that's a good good outcome for that. But it goes back to this idea of a game like Concord. Like, people worked on it for how long? People played it. It's a piece of art that just doesn't exist anymore. It's how countless hours of work, of story, of visuals, of music, of gameplay that won't be experienced just because of the business model. So
Well,
I think it's a go ahead.
to play devil's advocate there, I think, it's that was a game that should never have gotten to that point. I think that's it to it should never have gotten that far down the production line without someone raising their hand going, hey, this is not going to be successful, or this is not a path that we need to go down because this is not going to work. I think that, to play devil's advocate, meaning, like, I think we're not just blowing smoke up their asses because it's Sony and whatever. It's Yeah, to be fair, it's a game that shouldn't have got to that point. But it's both things are true, right? It's not that bad of a game, but it's also not a great game. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to be. I wouldn't say people should go out and buy it.
Especially
But
not now.
it's definitely not. That's something where, maybe it was toxic positivity that got them in that first place. That situation
Mm.
where there's a lot of developers who had their heads up their ass, like, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. We gotta, like, and there's no oversight, no one raising their hand and going, hey, like, this is actually going to work in this marketplace. And if they did any sort of testing, any sort of whatnot, then that's probably when it become very apparent.
It's clear
So I
that
just wanted
some
to put that out there, is
bad
that this is not
calls
like it.
were made, but yeah, hopefully, I hope that things can start turning around sooner rather than later, because it seems like they've started to kind of course correct a little bit.
Who's they? Sorry.
Sorry, PlayStation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes.
Still
I think
talking about
there's
the
a lot
Concord
of
thing.
live service stuff is there, but I want to bring it back to this discussion. But yeah, it's in terms of people having just parroting opinions. I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem that we're going to see more and more of with
Yeah,
AI, and then with a lot of these parasocial relationships people have with their favorite streamers, their favorite Twitch or YouTuber. So a lot of it is easy for a lot of people just to just adapt to this opinion that they have and want it. But the only thing I think I would say is just, if you're going to devote mental energy to something, why don't you devote it to something that is going to, enrich your life? There's no, it always baffles me why people spend so much time hating on stuff. And I get it's fun. I know it's sometimes it's fun to just hate on something that looks bad or dunk on something. But if you make that your identity, it sounds kind of sad.
yeah.
In a way, it's also like, having your own opinion just seems like something that you want because that's something that's unique to you, and no one can really argue that. You're gonna, hey, it's your opinion. What are you gonna say? It's not your opinion? Like,
I agree.
um, yeah. So,
Video games.
all this to say, yeah, I think it's important to find people that you share opinions with, but not necessarily adopt their opinions. I think that's kind of where we can leave that.
Not sight unseen. No, if you end up thinking the same things as them just because you happen to have similar taste, then cool. And it's okay to, be guided by the people who you look up to and respect. But yeah, you should definitely take the time to think about things critically on your own instead of just assuming, just like thinking that you don't like something because somebody told you that you don't like it.
Yeah. despite how tempting that may be, it's, and it's totally okay to have a meh opinion. It's like, I don't care. And that's valid. Just don't waste any more brain cells on it that were mental energy.
I agree.
That's it. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have for this week. I think we probably ran a little long, but it's okay because we had some good discussions there. And also my internet went out. And so always a good time. Yeah, please check us out on the web, sharedbytes.net and wherever you get your podcasts. Let us know if you have any questions, thoughts, feedback. And yeah, anything else you wanted to add, Justin, before we take off here?
Spay and neuter your pets.
Do that. All right. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye.